Hi, friend. Welcome. Welcome to Dancing Water. My name's Susan. I'm glad you're here for your Dancing Water daily practice. Today is Sunday, and we are doing a restorative yoga practice. And what we are anchoring our attention on this week is noticing what we need. A couple of years ago, I found myself in need of inspiration and creative support. And I started a practice of reading and memorizing poetry. In the middle of that, I gave my parents a copy of one of my favorite poems, and they have hung it, as dutiful parents do, in their den. Now, I'm recording this in the midst of the coronavirus crisis, and my mother was feeling, I don't know, I don't want to characterize it for her, but I think a little bit trapped and a little bit sad and missing her friends and worried about people. And she walked into her den and read the poem that I gave them, and she came out and said to my dad, it was just what I needed. And it's funny sometimes, right? Like, I don't see myself as a very good gift giver, because usually what I do is I give people what I want. And oddly enough, that actually works pretty well a lot of the time. That the closer I am connected to what I need, the more I can make available what in some point, in some time, perhaps in the future, works for somebody else. So I offer this practice, which is what my body is craving after doing a bunch of movement this week and a bunch of work at my desk and a lot of sitting and a lot of moving. So let's just begin by just pausing and taking some deep breaths. And I want you to imagine, as you breathe in, a cool breeze breathing up the front of your body, and then a waterfall breathing down the back of your body as you exhale. So you don't have to do this with your hands. Just imagine a breath, a cool breeze up the front of your body as you inhale, and a waterfall down the back of your body as you exhale. One more time. Inhale up and exhale down. And I hope you've gathered a few props from around the house. What you'll need today are 3 pillows, 2 towels, perhaps an extra blanket for comfort, a long scarf or a belt, and optionally some kind of eye covering, another scarf or a small towel. So let's set up for our first posture, which is called supported locust pose. So take 2 firm pillows, chicken pillow optional, but I recommend it. Stack those at the end of your mat or your towel. One of the things that I've been doing lately is, hi Phoenix, is taking an extra blanket underneath me so I have extra support and softness. A third pillow, sort of, what we're after here is a little bit of an incline. Then take 2 towels, 2 just normal bath towels, and roll them into a towel log, like this. Hold them and then roll them. Now, you might have yoga blocks at home. And if you did, you could use 2 yoga blocks instead of the towel logs. They're sort of less unwieldy than the rolled towels. Excuse me. But they're not as soft. And one of the things that's nice about the towel roll is that if you need less height, you can adjust the roll. You can roll it out a little bit or just fold it and make it work for you. So we're going to take this into a prone position. And so what I'm inviting is to let your ankles rest on the end of the pillows. And then just let yourself drape over the pillows so that your hips come right to the edge of the pillows. And just let yourself use your hands to start. And just lift up and look up. And then soften yourself down and let your shoulders rest on your towels or your blocks. Just let your face, your cheek rest on the blanket or mat. And the palms of your hands soften up toward the sky. And let your bones sink down. So let the bottoms of your feet unfurl. Imagine sun pouring down on the back of your body. Let your shin bones feel the support of the pillow underneath them. You actually have two bones in your lower leg, and you might take a deep breath there and imagine a little space in between both of your shin bones. Thighs heavy, sinking down into the pillows. Like two logs falling in the forest into soft soil. Lower back, sacrum spread out. Ribs melting and pouring away from your spine. Shoulder blades softening away from center, letting the weight of your arms and shoulders soften down. Draw your attention to the centers of your palms and the centers of the soles of your feet. Relaxing your eyes, your jaw, your ears. And just lifting your head and shifting your other ear. Feel your other ear supported. I want to stay connected to you, so I'm going to leave this side of my face out, but feeling the sensation on both sides of your neck. So giving both sides of your face and neck the support of the earth underneath them. Remembering that this style of yoga is about your body's way of letting go. It's not figuring out or forcing any kind of stretch, but rather putting your body in a supported position that allows itself to unwind. Your breath doesn't have to take any particular form. Just allow it to do whatever it needs to do. It might go shallow and quiet or deep and yawning. Gently, like a breeze, let your attention, your awareness float over your body, looking for any places that might be holding tension. And gently letting a ripple of breath and awareness move through any spots that are tight or gripping in any way. Taking one more breath here, inhaling. And as you exhale, take your palms to the floor and push your body up and move your way off your pillows slowly, letting yourself come up slowly, letting your head reorient to upright. And then set your third pillow aside. Set your towels aside just for a moment. We're going to use them in the next posture. We're going to do a side body stretch. So take your two stacked pillows to the middle of your mat. So in the springtime, right now it is springtime, but really any time, the side body is a place that tends to be neglected. And so it can kind of get sticky. And it's a great place to target for restorative yoga as an opportunity to let the side body integrate with upper and lower body and to relax and soften. Take one of your towels and unroll the log and fold it into a square and put it on top of your two pillows. Then take your other towel log and set it with some space between the pillows. And then you've got some choices with your legs. I'll show you what I like to do. I like to take my legs into basically like a figure four. So the sole of my front foot, my front knee is pointing straight forward, and the sole of my front foot is resting on the thigh of the other foot. The other foot's just behind me. And then take your top palm and lift up and slowly drape your ribs over the towel and blanket, towel and pillows, and let your head rest on your towel. So your palm is facing out and away, and your shoulder is resting in the space between the pillows and the towel. And then take your hand and just let your top hand and let it rest on your ribs. Just let your elbow move around a little bit, front and back, almost like a little chicken wing. And then let your top hand, imagine yourself wiping your brow. So drawing a circle with your elbow, just letting the back of your hand come across your brow and letting your upper arm bones, humerus bone, draw a big circle. And so one option here, I want to just say that your legs might feel better. Some people feel better with your legs long or their knees stacked. So you can experiment with that there if that works better than this figure 4. So just experiment with that. And then as you're ready, as you find yourself settling into this posture, you can let your hand rest on your ribs and let your elbow just fall out to the back. Or you can take your hand down and up over your ear. So feel what feels best to you here. We're just going to stay here for a few breaths, letting the body just find its way into stillness in this posture. Without controlling your breath, just noticing your breath floating through your bones. Opening up space around your hips and your waist. Letting your ribs float on your breath. You can close your eyes. Just let your gaze soften. Letting your focus kind of get fuzzy, whether your eyes are closed or open. And notice what's happening in your lower back, in your pelvis. See if you can get really heavy there. Check in with your upper arm. See if it still feels good and comfortable wherever it is. Sometimes for me, after a while, it feels better to let my arm come back down. My shoulder there's small muscles in the shoulder. So sometimes they start to feel fatigued. And so make adjustments as your body sinks into the posture. Something I like to do here as well is to take my hand into a soft fist. Just make circular movements, giving a little massage to the outside of my top hip. You can also do this with an open palm. Your knuckles. So in your hip, there are big muscles and lots of connective tissue. It actually feels good for me to kind of go deep into that joint, inviting more release. Oh, and take one more breath here, maybe one more circle around with the arm. And now letting your head come up last, take your top hand, push down, and slowly come up. Letting yourself reorient. Let your head and jaw float up. Create a little space in your neck. And now for all of you, you can just take this whole setup and just flip your body to the other side. I want to stay oriented to you, so I'm going to take it to the other side. But you guys can just take your knees and take them to the other side, lift up here, and float over the pillows. I'm going to take it all to the other direction. So that you can hear me and that I can see you. Feeling your hips. There's support here at your hips. Feeling the pillows and towel. And again, check into your legs. It may be different on this side than it was on the other side. What feels good to you on this side might be different. So experiment with either the knees stacked or the legs long. Feeling yourself coming up and over, draping, dropping your shoulder between the pillows, and get some stretch, letting your elbow come around. You can do the brow wiping, noticing your shoulder blade moving around your body. And then just letting your hand come up overhead. See how that feels. So for me on this side, I'll tell you, it just doesn't feel that good for me. And so even though I did it on the other side, it's totally fine. You can let your body decide what feels best side to side. It doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. Letting your fingers, what I like about this position is I can feel this connection with the ribs and how the breath gently lifts the ribs as I inhale, spreading them a little bit and then softening them together as I exhale. One of the reasons the side body can get so constricted is that we're using it all the time. We're using the side body to breathe and move, but we give it very little attention. So I like this hand position in that it gives me some attention to the constant support that my side body is giving me. And this pose gives me an opportunity to give my side body some support. Again, letting your awareness float like a warm breeze over your body. Letting it swirl and soften any places that you're holding. Letting them find their way into some kind of connection to breath. Some connection to letting go. Checking in with your shoulder, your arm, your hand, allowing yourself maybe some massage, whether it's with a fist or knuckles or fingers, feeling your hip, your buttock muscles. There's a deep gluteus muscle called the piriformis, which when I've been sitting a lot can really start to grip and hold on. I've also been doing some hiking and running in the woods, and especially if I'm going up and down hills, that muscle can get taxed. So it feels really good to give it some love, give it what it needs. And then just slowly just taking some luxurious last breathing in this particular shape. And then as you're ready, take your top hand and press yourself slowly back up. So one of the things that I love about restorative yoga is that it is really in your own timing. So sometimes I spend just a minute or two in a pose, but you can spend really, as long as it feels good, you can spend 5, 10, even 20 minutes in a pose. And so I'm giving you this structure and this sequence, and I really invite you to allow yourself to pause the recording and stay in any of these poses as long as it feels good. So now, take your towel log and unroll this one into a square. And so we're going to do 2 poses here. We're going to do a supported bridge pose, which is by far one of my favorite poses. So take your body up onto your pile here, and you may or may not want this towel. This really depends on what feels good in your hips. So we start with supported bridge. So lower yourself down so that your sacrum, your low back, is supported on the pillows and on the towel. Your feet are solid, soft on the floor, and your knees are right over your feet. Now take your hands to the base of your skull. Your thumbs kind of tuck under the muscles and bone at the ridge of your skull. Lift your head and give your head a little movement side to side without using your neck muscles. Use your muscles of your hands. And then lengthening the back of your neck. If you've got a ponytail like I do, you may want to move your hair out of the way. And then just relax your head down. And now find a balance in your hips. So you want to be allowing the gravity just to let your hips relax. So if you find yourself bracing or holding in your hips, you might want to take your feet a little wider and let your thigh bones soften to the center and your knees kiss at the center. Here might be a nice place for eye covering, if that feels good. Letting your eyes soften, relax into darkness and warmth. Taking a breath here and just noticing your body in this new shape. Letting your pelvis get really heavy, shoulders really heavy, and the back of your skull really heavy. All three of those points sinking, your feet sinking. And you may want to stay right here, or you may want to experiment with lengthening, pushing one heel away and opening up the space at the front of your pelvis on one side. Now this may feel good and it may feel like it's too much. It's totally fine to just leave your feet flat on the floor and letting your pelvis stay symmetrical. If you extend your foot out, you might play with pointing and flexing your foot a couple of times and then just letting your heel relax and your foot maybe just turns out a little bit to the side. Letting your ribs float and your knees float. And if you've got one leg out long, slowly draw your heel back in. Pause with both feet flat on the floor, or if you're staying there, just stay there. If you'd like, you can push the other heel out, pointing and flexing your foot. Really feeling the fronts of both of your ankle joints. And here you might also play with flexing your wrists, circling your wrists, and then choosing if your hands come down, palms down, or backs of your hands down. Wherever you are, just let yourself fully stop here and just breathe into the shape that your body is in. Breath finds its way in between the bones. Like a kind hand gently setting you into warm water. Let your body simultaneously sink and float. Remembering that this practice is all about being as comfortable as possible. So your body temperature may start to drop. So you may want a blanket on top of your body. You may want to adjust your feet and legs, maybe taking both feet flat on the floor or both feet out long. What position allows you to fully let go? Where could you send your breath to fully let your body find its place of relaxing and unwinding itself? And if you've got an eye covering, you may want to just pause here and remove it and just watch what I'm doing. Taking both feet flat on the floor. And you can just gently draw your knees in toward your chest. Now, this may be a place to pause. You can just let your knees just soften in, or let your legs float up. And finding, like a pendulum, finding this balance point. Now, my teacher, Shandoa Goldman, taught me this, which is to take a belt or a scarf and wrap it right over the balls of your feet, and then letting the weight of your hands and arms just gently give some traction to your legs and your hips. Finding the balance point, finding the point where it doesn't take any effort and your legs can just float up. So either your legs are just floating, letting your femur bones soften into the pelvis, or with this traction, giving a little downward gravitational pull into your feet, into your leg bones, and into your hips. Got my ladybug socks on today. I'm enjoying just gazing up at them. But again, as your body temperature goes down during this practice, I always invite having socks and long sleeves. Even if you're doing this on a warm day, you may find that extra layers are of benefit. Relaxing the connective tissue in your feet and in your hips and in between your ribs. My teacher, Shandoa, often says, nowhere to go, nothing to do. My teacher, Phoenix, often reminds me that sometimes the most productive thing I can do is to stop. And then if you've got your belt or your strap around your toes, you can let that go and then slowly let your knees, everybody, let your knees come in toward your chest. Give a gentle pull. Just let yourself round in. And then gently tip to one side and let yourself rest on your side. And then take your time and press yourself up. Let yourself come to a seated position. And I like to close my practice with my hips a little higher than my knees and my shoulders relaxed down. You may want to take a blanket and drape it around you in some way. Maybe take a cup of tea or a glass of water. And I'm going to close our practice today with a reading of the poem that hangs in the den of my parents' house. It was the poem that I gave them because it was something that I needed. And years later, my mother came across it and it turned out to be what she needed. This poem is called Beannacht, A Blessing, by John O'Donohue. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the currach of thought, and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so, may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. And taking a sip to water that blessing, remembering the power of the question, what do you need right now? And the power of responding to that question with kindness and compassion and curiosity. Thank you for joining me for the Dancing Water daily practice today. My name is Susan. I am grateful for your presence here. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please like and share videos. As they serve you, they may serve somebody else. I will post links to my teacher Shandoa's teaching so that you can find classes with her, as well as some meditations about what you need through Insight Timer on the blog, focuspocusnow.com, as well as in the notes below this video. I hope this has been of benefit, and I hope that you have a beautiful day.